Look, I'm not going to be a downer about this. It was really, really nice to be back at PPG Paints Arena last night. It was nice to see actual hockey for the first time in months, to see a lot of familiar faces. But man, I don't even know where to go with that prospect pool. Good morning to you. Good Wednesday morning. I'm Dejan Kovacevic of DK Pittsburgh Sports, and this is Daily Shot of Penguins. It comes your way bright and early every weekday if you're into football and or baseball. I also offer up daily shots of Steelers and Pirates right where you found this. Blue Jackets 3, Penguins 0 in the preseason opener. And no, I am not here to break down anything about the outcome itself. Means nothing on either side. But I do feel quite comfortable in sharing observations about individual players or this collection that the Penguins have of youngsters. Because I'm going to be honest with you, my main goal in going, other than, hockey, hope that someone would just jump out, make you notice. This press box had every evaluator in the Penguins' employ. I'm talking every scout, every supervisor, every analytics person. Craig Patrick was there. Eddie Johnston was there, along with everyone else you would expect to be there. The two elder statesmen, the senior advisors, were there. And by the way, are doing great. Had a chance to briefly speak with both of them. And I can promise you they wanted the same thing. I wanted it to write about it, but they wanted it, to believe that there's something here. And there are things, but there aren't a whole lot. I'll start with a positive. Nathan Legare has lost 15 pounds, as I've shared with you already on this show. He and I had a good talk last week that became the centerpiece of a daily shot of Penguins. But this was the first chance I'd had to see him since then in game action. And it's pretty jarring. I mean, if you remember Legare when he was here in his first go-round a couple years ago, he scored a couple of goals in a preseason game, that big shot, and made an impression, really did. But he couldn't move, at least not that well. Kind of a stocky build, really broad shoulders. And he made quite the decision, not just from the weight loss standpoint, but also a nutritional standpoint. It doesn't mean he was out of shape. Sometimes people hear that and think the person's out of shape. No, it's just a matter of getting into the kind of shape that you need for your specific athletic endeavor. Hockey players tend to go out of their way to lose weight because speed means everything. And there was one sequence last night where the puck was dumped deep into the Columbus zone, down in the left corner off the end boards, and Legare just went flying to it. The only other member of the Penguins I saw moving like that, who was not an established NHLer, was Sam Lafferty, and Lafferty had a shift similarly where his wasn't a dump in, but he just went carrying up the right side and was just blowing past people. The kid's really fast and big and a lot of other things, just really hasn't put it together. But Legare really showed me something here. Now, what does it mean? I don't know. He was out there on the first line with Kasperi Kapanen, with Sam Poulin, his buddy, and not a whole heck of a lot happened. He was on the first power play a lot of the time, and some decent things, but again, not a whole heck of a lot happened. So I then kind of shifted my attention to Poulin. This portion of Daily Shot of Penguins is brought to you by Point Park University. Choose from nearly 100 career-focused programs leading to bachelor's, master's, and doctoral degrees. Choose when and how you prefer to do that studying, whether it's at Point Park's gorgeous downtown Pittsburgh campus, whether it's online, or flexible hybrid format. Learn more about all of this at pointpark.edu. Poulin is a different type of player than Legare. They might seem similar. At times, they play a similar style. One's obviously a lefty and one's a righty. But Poulin does some things that Legare doesn't, and they openly talk about this. Poulin will go to the net, and he'll plant himself at the net, and he's doing that more now than he did in the past. And I find that interesting because Poulin always had, even at 18 years old, this advanced frame to him that made him look like he was NHL ready right away, which he wasn't. And it appears that he'll now try to put that to use in, I don't want to say Patrick Hornqvist. There's only one Hornqvist, but I at least want to give you the visual of someone planting themselves in front of the net, looking for screens and tips and so forth. And he had a couple. He had a couple tips. They didn't do well, but he had a couple, and he was there. And in general, he just seemed more composed, more controlled than I remembered him. And that surprised me at least a little bit because he had kind of a headless chicken / Daniel Sprong feel the last time there was a camp. So this was good. I asked him about that afterward.
To be honest, not much. They just want me to go out there and have fun and play my best and work hard. And there's a couple details that they ask us to do for to be able to play in the lineup. So they just want us to be sharp on those details and like I said, just have fun and work hard. So
he's not the most talkative young man, Sam Poulin. Good kid though, and he's definitely got the toolkit to play in the NHL someday. But what he'll be, wow, I don't know. I mean, he's shown a scoring touch through his whole life, and he's shown more of one than Legare has, even though Legare has that big shot that really kind of catches your attention. But turning that into net front guy / big physique guy / good skater who doesn't always seem to have a command of the entire rink. I'm trying here. I want to find 2 or 3 of these guys where I can say, hey, I'm going to keep an eye on them and I'm going to have some fun tracking them. You know what I'm talking about. You've done that. And then by the time they make it to the main team, you can kind of feel that little extra pride. Like, yeah, I noticed that guy back when. Development camp, I liked Valtteri Puustinen. That's not going to mean anything to almost anybody who's listening to this show. Talented finish forward, a little on the smallish side. Again, not spectacular, but showed good composure, good smarts. You want more of that. You need more of that. I'll tell you who would love to see more of that is Mike Sullivan. Don't laugh. This whole thing about him, not liking young players and whatever else here. He was talking even after this game about how much he'd value having everyone understand that positions are open, that positions are available. The question that was put to him was about Cody Ceci's vacancy, and for once, somebody other than me brought up Cody Ceci. And Sullivan came back with, well, it's not just one spot for one right-handed defenseman. You're going to look at our chart and see that names are there that are familiar, but we don't want people to have that thought process, meaning the young players. We want them to perform as if there's a chance to make this team, meaning the Pittsburgh Penguins. But then, these guys take the ice, and there's not much there. There's just not. When we come back, just one question. Welcome back. It's time for Just One Question. That's always brought to you by Fubo TV. The monthly cost of cable is over $200. Fubo TV is $65 a month to watch all the same channels, including AT&T Sportsnet Pittsburgh. And right now, Fubo TV is offering our listeners a 7-day free trial and 15% off your first month. Just visit FuboTV.com/DK. Our J1Q comes from Deanna, and she asks, will the current management have patience with Tristan Jarry, or do you think they're quietly looking for a replacement? I believe that they're going to have patience. I don't believe that they're looking for a replacement quietly or otherwise. And I can tell you from watching Jarry in this game and just having a lot of things pop back into mind while he's out there, especially when he gave up a goal on Columbus's second shot on a long-range wrist shot, that it's uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable. I'm obviously only speaking for myself. But you don't just wipe away what happened in the playoffs. I know Jarry has said he plans to do that. I know that Ron Hextall and the entire coaching staff and everyone has said they plan to do that. The teammates are going to say all the right things as well. But when he's out there, and you're in that same building, and the last thing you saw in that building was him passing that puck right up the middle, it's going to take some doing. It's going to take some doing. Now, the crowd was interesting. It wasn't a very big crowd. Never is for the first preseason game. But when Jarry was introduced, or when Jarry made a save, which he did at about the 12-minute mark of the first period, and you go, what are these people going to do? What are they going to do? Are they going to cheer him? Are they going to boo? Are they just going to be tepid? Are they going to be cautious? Are they going to wait for him to play great? Wait for him to do something good first? Again, it's just a preseason game, and it was mostly, I would call it, tepid/okay. Is that a thing? But all of these things, Deanna, are going to be part of this discussion all winter long. Jarry, in my eyes, could be the National Hockey League's best goaltender through October, November, and December, and get another bid to be in the All-Star game. And it still won't address a fraction of the doubts that'll be left behind by the series with the Islanders. Why? Because none of this will be playoffs. The one thing hockey teaches you over the long term when it comes to analyzing performance between regular season and postseason is that there's no erasing anything, good or bad, from the playoffs by doing something in other months. He's got his work cut out for him. He does. He does. And I would imagine he realizes that. But, to reiterate my answer to your question, no, they're not switching up. They're not switching up. Certainly not now. I appreciate the question. I appreciate everybody listening to Daily Shot of Penguins. Man, was it good to be back at the rink. So good. Let's do this again tomorrow.